Welcome to Policing TV and welcome to Fareham, where I'm joined by Gary Botterill, who is the founder of Service Dogs UK. Gary, thank you so much for welcoming Policing TV here to Fareham. Let's just start. Why are we meeting in Fareham?
Well, Fareham is the registered office of Service Dogs UK, and this is our home.
So, we will come on to the canine side shortly, but before we do, let's just start with a little bit about your services and policing background. You joined the Royal Navy, served there for a while, and then joined Sussex Police. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I had 6 years in the Royal Navy, which I thoroughly enjoyed, and then I came out and I started a little business, and a friend of mine who I was in the Royal Navy with said, come out with us, I'm a police officer now, come out and see what it's like. And I went out with him and I just had the best time. We were chasing after people, I could feel my heart beating, adrenaline coursing through my veins, and I thought, I've got to do this is fantastic.
So you were leaving the Navy, you were looking for a further career to move into, and a friend of yours through a ride-along, effectively, a chance to visit, see what was going on, that whetted your appetite.
Yeah, indeed it did, and then I joined, and 30 years later, here I am. I've now retired from the police, but had a fantastic time working with some fantastic, wonderful people. So, asking what may be a naive question, but still worth asking, did you enjoy you did enjoy your 30 years? You'd recommend it to others? Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's ups and downs. There are some hard days without exception. I think every police officer will go through some hard days, and there's some tough yards as well. You are dealing with some of the worst cases of people being mean to each other, as well as lots of other things, disasters, catastrophes, but if you're working with a good team and you're working well together, it's very it can have a very positive effect on you.
So as a serving sergeant in the mid 2010s, you were taking a keener interest in the service dog side of things, which led you to put in an application to the Churchill Trust for a fellowship there. Tell us about that time in roughly 2014, 2015.
Yeah, so that was a time of upheaval and change in my personal circumstances, and I relied really heavily on my own dogs, which happened to be dogs from rescue, to help me with my mental health and well-being, because I was going through, like many police officers do, going through a divorce situation, and luckily I was able, with my dogs, to get through that, and I firsthand I felt the positive effect of dogs on me, and it gave you the drive to get up and carry on and continue. So that was a big effect on me, but it was also having a big effect on a friend of mine who sadly had PTSD, and his dog was the one thing that kept him going in very, very difficult circumstances. So I did some research, and from that research I found out about the wonderful organisations in the US and the Netherlands that have PTSD assistance dogs, and seeing my friend with PTSD was quite a shock, the way it had changed him, and I thought, if there's any chance of actually making his life and other people with PTSD lives better by using dogs, then that needed to be explored. And I put together a pilot program that I thought would address that issue, and went to the Churchill Fellowship with that as a proposition. And luckily I was successful. Well,
you say luckily, but it's a very competitive fellowship. The proposal or the bid that you put in must have been completely compelling, and so you were given a grant to travel to the Netherlands, to travel to the States, to learn more about their service dogs. What did you find there?
Yes, so it was a fantastic opportunity, and it was amazing to see the different ways that the different organisations worked in order to get the dogs to help to do practical tasks to help veterans, but also the very nature of the veteran working with the dogs and working along over a period of time with dogs. Just that itself was an amazing part of some of the programs. So if you're teaching your dog that a car backfiring is a great thing, and crowds are good fun, and noises are okay, and there's nothing to be worried about or alarmed about, then if you've got PTSD and you're driving that attitude into your dogs, you're also helping to learn that yourself. So that's really, really powerful.
You mentioned a little earlier on that you have 2 rescue dogs. Service Dogs UK focus on recruiting rescue dogs even in the present day, do you not?
Yeah, absolutely. There are so many brilliant rescue dogs in rescues they're there for no fault of their own. We've got even more so now with the cost of living crisis, and now that COVID is effectively over for the time being, then people are going back to work, and we've got some fantastic dogs. We've always had dogs from rescue, even when sometimes they were hard to manage, but we've got a great partnership with the Churchill Trust. So we're always able to source good dogs, and we do a thorough assessment and make sure they're up for the task.
I jumped us forward a little bit there because the connection between the funding that you received from the Churchill Trust to visit the Netherlands and subsequently the States led you to setting up Service Dogs UK with Sussex Constabulary's support, providing some time for you in return for advice and direction for the force itself. Now, it's expanded from this base, slightly surreal base, it has to be said, here with yachts in the background rather than dogs, but it's expanded from this base in Sussex, Service Dogs UK, into 2 further locations. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, we started off in this location, and from this location we're able to look after people from Sussex, Surrey and Hampshire, because they have to be able to travel to our training locations, and because our program is unique and it's over a 9-month period. And once this one was up and running, one of our trainers from this hub moved inconsiderately to the southwest, but of course that was a great opportunity for us to open up another hub in the southwest. And when both hubs were up and running and working very, very well, and almost looking after themselves, that was the chance for us to look at another location, and Essex was just a great location, and we've just newly opened the hub in Essex, and it's already doing really, really well.
So 3 locations for Service Dogs UK. We haven't yet touched on Oscar Kilo and Oscar Kilo dogs. We are going to come on to that in the second video, but it is worth saying at this stage that Service Dogs UK is a charity, and you are always quite rightly looking for support. I know that Policing TV's channel sponsor Altia is very supportive of the work of Service Dogs UK, but I'm sure that you would welcome other such support. How do people go about volunteering that support to you and to Service Dogs UK? And perhaps also, how do they express further interest in what it is that you're able to provide?
Yeah, we'd be delighted to hear from anybody who is interested in supporting us in any way possible. So we're on the website, Service Dogs UK. We're on LinkedIn, we're on all the social media platforms as well, and it's really important that we get some support from the emergency services, because we're finding now that support for people from the military is forthcoming through the Armed Forces Covenant and through the military charities. It's more difficult to get funding for our emergency services personnel, and they're making up even more of the number of veterans who we look after. So it's critical we get some funding to cover them.
Let's pick up in video 2 about the work that you do with the Oscar Kilo UK support programme and Oscar Kilo dogs. But for the time being, Gary Botterill, the founder of Service Dogs UK, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Bernard.